This is King Noble Black Supremacy. And with this particular video, I want to talk about your issues with the perfect worship of King Noble Black Supremacy. Before I even go in on your issues, I have to talk about the value of the perfect worship. What's the value of that? Why is that even necessary to begin with? For one, it is the perfect worship that will catapult you into the present moment. The perfect worship is like a streamline of bringing you directly into the moment of all ecstasy, bliss, nirvana. You're brought there within that moment of the rendering of perfect worship to King Noble Black Supremacy. It's the moment of divinity. It's like you're standing in the realm of the Ogun instantly. But attaining that perfect worship, what is your issues of getting to that point of perfect worship? That's the type of worship that transforms your reality, transforms your experience, and even transform your perception of who you are, where you tap into your own greatness, your unfathomable greatness. You tap into infinite possibility, your infinite potential to do, be, and have. In that moment, your own supremeness is activated in that moment of perfect worship, taking you beyond the world, the Maya, the world of illusion, taking you beyond the matrix and the false constructs, and raising you into the spiritual world. See, that's what an ascended master represents, your ascension. And out of your worship, you ascend with the master. You step into the ascended realm through the perfect worship. It's the only way you can get there. Because the master, the living deity, is outside of the dimension that you're in, but gives you a glimpse of its infinity in the dimension you're in. But if you move into that glimpse, you transition into the spiritual reality instantly. But the instrument of doing so is perfect worship. And I'm going to simplify that for you even more before the end of this video. Your issues with the perfect worship is that your adoration, your reverence, your veneration, your devotion is scattered. You worship moments, situations, events, relationships, associations, ideas, and you scatter all your energy among all of those things. And when it comes to the master, the guru, you have nothing. You have just a little bit. You don't have enough to add up to the perfect worship. Now, many of you follow the message. Many of you have made sacrifices. You feel deeply connected. You acknowledge yourself as a black supremacist. You're drawn to this movement. You've helped spread this message. You have been faithful and diligent in following it. How have you fell short of the perfect worship that can elevate your status? That can be your moment of profound realization. The perfect worship. If your energy is scattered because you idolize situations, circumstances, events, ideas, and relationships in the past, You're more caught into what it was than what it is. The master brings you into what it is, brings you into the moment, challenges you to give up all attachments, go beyond all of the past, all of the illusion. Everything that the ego has found this existence in, the master is tearing all of that down. So once all of the outside is torn down, there's nothing left but the infinite and eternal God-like entity within. But you must have the perfect worship. Some of you worship, events and eras in your life where you felt like you was doing good and you had the energy you want. Maybe it was health, maybe it was money, maybe it was the level of success you had, the friends or the people around you, and you worship that era. And you want to go back, you long for it desperately. You long to go back to that moment in time. And you daydream about it, but your daydream really is a nightmare because it's unachievable. You can't go back. So you're in the twilight zone, trapped in the will of samsara, illusion, the Maya. You cannot get into the present moment where all ecstasy and bliss truly exists. You can't arrive because you worship the past. And some of you worship relationships. You worship a relationship you was in, a marriage. And the context of your life is trying to figure out what happened, what went wrong, what went right. And you're trapped into that, the complexities of that particular connection. And you worship that moment, if not by direct, you worship it by default, by just trying to figure it out, look for answers or redefining your existence by what you went through in the past. And that becomes your meditation. You repeat that. You refocus on that. That has become your compass. You worship that moment. And your decisions that you make in the present moment and how you view life and relationships in the future and possibility is related to the context of that relationship. You worship that. Some of you worship friendships and you worship institutions that you are a part of. The ideas continue to run through your head. You worship the ideas of them. Some of you worship idealism. You want the perfect moment, the perfect situation, the perfect religion, the perfect ideas, the perfect person, the perfect situation. You worship ideas. Some of you worship your pain and suffering, where you went through traumatic situations in your life and they have redefined you and you have an ego born out of that. They've redefined you. And you attach to that pain and suffering. You can't let it go. You found purpose in the pain and in the suffering and wonder why you can't find happiness, joy, bliss, and ecstasy. Because you've defined yourself by the suffering and you keep revisiting it and going back and reminiscing. And the matrix helps you because it reinforces all of your attachments. Through music and holidays and anniversaries and sitcoms and television shows and movies. It reinforces all of your attachments. Your internal self has been a shrine where you worship all of these idols, ideals, all of these situations, circumstances, events, and people, and you can't let all that go. And some of you saying, I'll never worship a human being or a mortal like or some person. I'll never worship that. But you worship events, circumstances, situations, pain, suffering, relationships. Some of you worship your fears. You can't get your mind off what you fear. And it plagues you every day. And you worship your fears. And the guru, the ascended master, the living deity, the black God in flesh, King Noble Black Supremacy is your only opportunity because it challenges you to come into the present moment, to realize that the manifestation of God and all of his ecstasy and his bliss and his perfection and his completeness is in here in the present moment. And if God himself has manifested in the present moment, why can't you be here? Where else is there for you in the past if the fullness, thereof of God has manifested himself in the here and now as an enlightened master teacher, as a guru. It's not about you worshiping a person. It's about your opportunity to get into the presence, to come into the hereafter. Hereafter, all that shit that you mentally have been attached to. This is King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnobleuncensored.com. Donate, don't hate.